Hello everyone, this is In-Game Art with another unboxing, another offline product gaming review. This is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the Expansion Pass edition for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, this Expansion Pass version of Breath of the Wild comes with all currently released DLC, all on cartridge. So it has both the Expansion 1 and Expansion 2, as well as it comes with all the little bonus little items as well on the cartridge. As well as it comes with the update version 1.6.0 already on the cartridge as well. At the time I'm making this video, there were no updates available. So basically, Breath of the Wild, the Expansion Pass, is the complete version, all on cartridge version of the game. Though sadly and highly disappointingly, Nintendo only released this physical version, the Expansion Pass version, only in Japan as well as selected Asian regions. There is no, at the time of making this video, or by my knowledge, there is no American version or PAL region of the Expansion Pass version of Breath of the Wild. Which is again highly disappointing and confusing because this is a marvel of how a physical release should be, or at least a Game of the Year, a complete edition of the game. As I said, it comes with everything on the cartridge, as well as the game supports a multitude of languages, as I said, even English, as you can see in the video. Even my full-blown Japan version of the game has full English support. Now, I don't know fully about the Asian version of the games if it supports English, but I can't see why not if the Japan version has English. So it's just a complete package of Breath of the Wild. I don't know why they chose not to release this in higher other regions. It just seems like they just didn't want money. The only thing I can think of, because this is, how you would expect a physical release to be, as well as I can only imagine how many people, as Nintendo fans, Legend of Zelda fans, or just fans of the Breath of the Wild game, would want this physical version of the game. Now, I wanted to cover this version a long time ago, but I actually forgot about it, as well as that I thought they would do another physical release of the game. Now, before I go in more and more detail, I want to stress that we still could get another physical release in the US or PAL region if, like I say, the Nintendo Switch 2 came out and they maybe re-released Breath of the Wild again, like the Ultra version of the game, and that will have like 60 FPS and 4K support on the new Nintendo Switch 2. That's if it happens. The problem is that Nintendo isn't really known to do that kind of stuff, as well as that, as we all know, they are notoriously bad about video game preservation. As well as that the only reason we were getting like Wii U games physically is that since the Wii U did so bad, they just transferred all those games over to the Switch. It made sense, but we don't get a lot of other games like GameCube, Nintendo Wii, or even other stuff like Nintendo 64 physical releases and so on. So it's not a lot to bank on that we could get another physical release of Breath of the Wild for like the Switch 2. So in the end, as I said about offline and as well as the product, it just ran great. I had no issues. I never had the game crash or have any problems. It was fully on cartridge, and it was just a full experience of Breath of the Wild. I did experience some heavy frame rate issues, but I'm sure that existed long prior before this expansion version. It's only in very select areas the frame rate drops enormously. It's usually like in a forest or like a pack with a bunch of enemies and so on. It just doesn't run the greatest on the Switch in selected areas. But it's still fun. It doesn't like leave the game unplayable. But I never had any issues playing fully offline, and it's the complete version of the product. I can't highly praise this physical version enough. Though sadly, as I said, it's only available in Japan regions, so right now the physical version is getting quite expensive. I don't want to tell anybody that you need to hurry up and buy it, but right now it's usually most of them are going for $100 or more for a physical copy, and as I said with Nintendo about being very bad about physical preservation, or just games and preservation in general, looking for this physical version later in life is going to be extremely expensive, especially if we're going to be going to a more digital world where everything's just going to be digital. This could be the only way to get Breath of the Wild, everything on cartridge. Now, my final thoughts of the game: if you know me, you know I'm not a fan of huge open world games, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is no different. It doesn't really add anything to the open world aspect. I don't enjoy spending 30 minutes running to a location and doing a thing at that location for like 5 minutes and then back again running around for 30 minutes doing nothing. I don't understand the obsession and love for that game design. It's not good to me. I don't enjoy it. And though I love many things about Breath of the Wild, I like actually the weapon breaking system in the game. I do agree they could fix this by adding a gauge to let me know how durable my weapon has left, as well as that maybe weapons can last a little bit longer, as well as that when a weapon breaks, you immediately equip your next weapon, or even better, if you just tap the D-pad, he'll equip the next weapon instead of have to constantly hold it, which interrupts the game. There's just little things they can do to fix that. As well as that, I wish the world was smaller. I'm not going to say make it linear, but like the world is just too big. It's like, I wish it was like 35 to 40% smaller, because it's just tedious to run to every location and a lot of empty voids of nothing. As well as many of the side quests involve just running to long distance of locations, doing nothing in the game. It's just not really enjoyable for me, and I just wish it was smaller. And sadly, they do have like the parachute thing, which is really fun to traverse the world with that. But I really wish they had the motorcycle you can get in the game as your divine beast. Sadly, you don't get that until like way later in the game, and that's actually when traversing the world at least gets somewhat tolerable. But you've already completed most of the game by the time you get that ability, as well as that. The riding the horse is just atrociously bad. I do not like the horse riding in this game. I never use my horse. If you gave me the option, I would send my horse to the glue factory. I hate the horses in this game. Though I want to immediately add, amiibo support does work in this Japan version of the game. All Legends of Zelda amiibos will work on this version. So I just want to immediately throw that out there, as well as that my save file did transfer over to this version. I redid my save and played it on master difficulty, but my save file from previously did transfer over to this expansion version, Japan version of the game. So you won't have to start over if you pick up this version. At least I didn't have to. But I just went ahead and completed Master Mode, which Master Mode was really fun. It really added a lot more difficulty to the game. Though I was disappointed by the 2 expansions in the game. They felt more like a tack-on kind of thing, where it should have been there from the day one. It really felt like that. But what was disappointing is that a lot of it involved just taking a lot of my equipment away and leaving me with nothing, and it just felt like a way to make the game harder, even though I spent all this time gathering up my gear, raising up my stats and all this other stuff, and getting my equipment, and then the 2 expansions take them away. It just, I don't know, that irked me a little bit. But overall, Breath of the Wild was still a phenomenal Legend of Zelda game. I do think they do some really cool things like the weapon breaking system, as well as that I do like all the equipment you can get, as well as that I do like the how you get all the abilities right at the beginning to solve every puzzle. I love doing the shrines, and I do admit, near the end, I almost wanted to quit playing this game. I was just outright bored. I did not end up buying the strategy guide to the game, and that just made the game fun again for me, because I knew exactly where to run and what to do, instead of just mindlessly running around for 30 to 40 minutes, finding nothing and doing nothing. I just don't enjoy that. I don't know how anybody else does, but I just don't find that good game design. But out of every other Legend of Zelda games, I do like Breath of the Wild, and there's many things I love about it, but just the world is so boring, and I will probably never pick up Breath of the Wild ever again. I'm pretty much done. I beat it in Master Mode. I completed most of the majority of everything in the game. I probably would play like Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening, or Skyward Sword again multiple times, or Twilight Princess, or Wind Waker before I play Breath of the Wild again. It's just, the world is just too boring and just uninteresting, and most of the side quests are not interesting, and traversing the world is just a chore. But I know many people love these kinds of game designs. I don't understand why, but if you're wanting the complete version of Breath of the Wild, you need to pick up the Japan version of the game. If you want to fork over that kind of money, maybe you'll get lucky and Nintendo will release another physical version of the game, like for the Switch 2 or whatever, and call it like Breath of the Wild, the ultimate version. I don't know, but Nintendo doesn't have the good history on doing that kind of stuff. So I will try to leave links down in the description if you're interested to copy. I have to say, hurry up and get it while you can, because, as I said, later in life, it's going to be expensive. Even if they do another physical release of the game, the amount of people who just love Nintendo will buy this for the collective purposes, even though there is a better version out there, just to have it on their shelf. So you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. Nintendo games, especially when they do limited runs like this, and it's a very popular game, and on a selected small region in the world, whew, boy, it's up to you what you want to do. I highly recommend you looking into it now while you can, but like always, I'll try to leave links in the description if you're interested in copying, and thank you all for so much for watching. I hope these videos are a big help to you, and many of you have given me advice on how to look for better games and everything. I appreciate all of you guys as well, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!